got a call yesterday, and they confirmed that he had passed away on the track. Welcome back to the Change Room Podcast. I am your co-host, Kieran. This is your other co-host, Colton. How's it going?
Thanks for the intro, Kieran. This is your co-host, Colton, and just living life, man. How are you? I haven't fucking talked to you in forever. I've been seeing you've been doing some riding, some family stuff. And you just kept me out of the loop. You haven't contacted me barely at all. You just gave me the big old middle finger and said, "Fuck you, buddy. I got my own shit going on." So what's happening with that?
Dude, I don't know. Life has been crazy. I get into this weird state where I get into this weird position in this state where through the winter time and everything, you go to work in the dark, you come home in the dark, and everything kind of sucks. It's just a constant, like, you're doing the same thing every day. You're just working, coming home, eating, going to sleep pretty much. And it gets really exhausting doing that, and then trying to, fill your weekends. I don't purposely try to fill my weekends, but we've been so busy all winter long and so far all spring long. Just every weekend there's something going on. Hannah's doing lessons now with horses to make some extra cash, and she's a Wasatch coach for gaming for horses, so she's got a bunch of weekends filled, and on the weekends she doesn't have filled, there's the races. Luckily, they landed on different weekends. This weekend is Supercross, Seattle. And then Sunday, I'm probably going to go ride some Mattawa, get prepped for the Desert 100, which is in 2 weekends. And that's another whole weekend. And the weekend after that is another Wasatch meet, blah, blah, blah. But I have no excuse for not contacting you. I'm sorry. I've just been so busy. I love you, I promise.
I love you too.
I got super into. We went to that horn practice day 3 weeks ago, and man, that was so much fun. It was such a beautiful day. It was frozen in the morning, and so the dirt had like this dewy frost out in the morning, and then through the day it got up to like 50, 60 degrees, and it all just kind of soaked into the track, and it was perfect for like all morning. They didn't water the track until like 1 o'clock. And man, it was so much fun. The dirt was prime. They prepped the entire track. It was brand new when we got there. We were some of the first people out. It was so much fun, and I was having a really good time recording and hanging out with everybody, obviously, until I got banged up a little bit at the end of the day. In the middle of the day, I had that issue with that kid. We were out in the trails ripping around, and there's no signs or governed an area anywhere out there, so I was kind of in a blind spot, come out of this corner, and he was hauling into this corner, like flying, just completely smacked me, like straight on. Like our 2 front number plates hit each other square on. That was that square on. Like our front tires barely missed each other, to where my front fender, my side fender, my front number plate all shattered. My bars bent. I broke off his shifter lever with my front tire. He smacked face to face into me, chest, everything. Somehow his leg got caught in there in between our bikes, and I shattered his tib fib. He got carted out of there with an ambulance. He had a steel plate in there already, I guess, from breaking it the year before. Felt super bad. There's nothing really we could have done in that situation. I was going slow. I had just gotten out there, and I was putting around, and we were a decent ways out there, and he just came around the corner absolutely flying. Fast kid, but after that, my bike was kind of toast the rest of the day. I had no front fender. It was totally broke off. My front number plate was totally broke off. It looked like a goon riding back to the truck. I wasn't going to ride like that with how sandy, and they had a big, nice sand section in the track, and the dirt was pretty tacky, so I was just going to be miserable if I rode my bike on the track. So I took my brother's gas and I was ripping it for a few laps until um, my crash happened, and that hurt pretty good. I broke a couple ribs, I think. It took like 3 weeks for him to, like, they're finally fine again. Like, I can actually cough or sneeze without miserable pain. But for a week and a half there, it was bad, like bad, like barely could
I
work.
didn't even know that. I thought you were fine after the crash. You didn't tell me any of that.
Dude, it was bad. Like, at work the next week, I was so miserable. Like, can't bend over, can't move side to side. My Even taking inhales and exhales just hurts so bad. But you gotta make money to pay for my plastics
That's
that I broke
crazy.
and shit. But that was a really fun day and all. Like, even after that happened, I still think it was a super fun day. It was very successful. We made a sick YouTube video. I'm super proud of that for my first ever YouTube video.
Yeah, it was great. That was a great video. I was very impressed.
Yeah, I'm happy
And
with
if you
it.
haven't seen it, go check it out on our YouTube channel. Or we also have the crash with Colton's talking about on our Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah,
It's fucking hilarious.
it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
But
Should make a sound clip out of that and use it. Yeah, it was fun, but this weekend was pretty shitty. I gotta admit. I haven't said anything to Kieran yet. It's been pretty on the down low in all. Saturday we drove down to Horn Rapids again for the first round of the Team THIIS series. Left, took work off Friday, and prepped all day. Got everybody's stuff loaded. It was me, Elijah, Wyatt, Bill, my wife, and Weston. And me, Hannah, and Weston stayed in a cool room at Riverfront Hotel that Saturday night. And then my cousin Bill and my two brothers, Wyatt and Elijah, stayed in a hotel together with Tanner Lind. He's another really good buddy of ours that rides with us. And it was really fun. That Saturday, we were out there trying to get as much practice in as we could. We were a little late, and now with Team THIIS being so big, they do the kids races on Saturday night instead of Sunday mornings because they added a short course to Sunday. So now they have 3 different short course races Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon they have the long course race, which short course is an hour plus 1 lap, and the long course is 2 hours plus 1 lap. And I did the third short course, the sportsman's expert class with Elijah, and Bill, Wyatt, and Tanner did the open C class, or Wyatt did the 250C class, and Bill and Tanner did the open C class. I don't know where the results yet. We left before they posted them, and they'll be online probably today or whatever. But that Saturday was fun. I didn't get much recording in. I was just trying to get as much riding as I could. I got some clips here and there, but there wasn't much going on. I didn't have a lot of time to stand out there at the camera or anything, so I practically got no footage Saturday. And Sunday, I was so focused on prepping for my race and my brother and my cousin's race and stuff that I, again, got like no footage. I was kind of relying on Hannah to get some footage, but she's got the baby, so it's really hard for her to even be around. And it's a distance and endurance race, so we're out in the trails for 30 minutes at a time, so you never see us until we come back in. And the hour-long race, we only do about like 4 laps, so there's not even much footage to be had in that amount of time anyway. But I almost need a cameraman for this stuff, dude. I almost need to have someone to come out with me, and like their sole purpose is to just help out with recording and like just get everything you can. and whatnot, but I need a camera with a cool lens and whatnot to get cool footage. But my goal is mostly just to get footage of like pits and going by doing jumps or sitting in trails and stuff like that, just corners and whatnot. Just iPhone works really good for that. Just to get good clips and stuff like that, and then talking about racing and pre race and post race and whatnot. But I'm not sure I'm gonna post any video for this weekend because I got like no footage, and I'll just get into my race. Well, it started off good. I started off mid pack. It was like there's like 40 people in our class, and Elijah was ahead of me. I saw him up there in the front. Somebody wrecked really hard in front of me right off the start. So everybody was kind of jumping off the track everywhere. It was a course, really. It wasn't even the track. It was like this sand whoop section that was like 6 feet wide with like 40 guys going through it. So a little dusty, sandy, guys flying everywhere kind of thing, hitting each other. Get into the track, feeling all right. I start pumping up really good because guys are cutting me off and trying to get in front of other guys. I'm in the mode where I'm like pushing a little too hard for being so early in the race, and you're just trying to keep up with everybody else that is also pushing. I just developed arm pumps so fast, and got into the trails there and was hauling ass around there until you can't feel anything anymore, and just I can't even hold on to the bike. So I was struggling pretty bad that first lap, but got through the first lap, and on my second lap, I was balling through the trails and just kind of by myself out there. Everybody's pretty spread out at this point. And I come around this corner, bull turn corner kind of thing, big sandy corner, and up ahead of me, there's this guy laying down, still on his bike, but on his side. And I'm doing shit at this point, so I stop and I'm asking, hey, you all right? Like, you need anybody? And I get no response. Looks like he's knocked out to me. And I get off my bike and I'm trying to get a response out of him, and he moves his arm from his chest over to the ground, and he looks at me, but his breathing is like really bad, like almost like his exhales were way worse than his inhales, and he couldn't inhale at all, and very gurgly sounding. And so I was thinking like to hit his chest really hard on the bars or something, like maybe his head smacked the bar. I don't know. It was kind of whoopy sandy area. I couldn't really touch him at all in case he had some major injury to his neck. I wasn't sure what had happened. And at this point, I'm trying to keep people from hitting him because they're flying around this corner. Like, these leaders are coming around again after about 5-10 minutes. And and these guys are flying, so I'm trying to keep people away, looking back at him. He's sitting there and he's breathing really rough, but he's not moving at all, and he's not responding to anything I say, no matter what. And guiding people, look back, guiding people away a little bit. And I look back at him, and he's not breathing anymore. He completely stopped breathing. I jump down at him, and I'm checking his chest, and he's no inhale, no exhale. Kind of go feel for a pulse in his hand, and there's nothing. And at this point, I kind of take off his goggles, and he's got his eyes half open. Just disclaimer for the rest of this podcast: if you don't like gory stuff, then skip about 10 minutes. But I get Team Tortoise guy out there. I sent somebody earlier, like when I first got there, I sent somebody to go ahead and grab anybody that could come and help him out. And I'm sitting there with him when another Team Tortoise guy comes up, and he calls for an medic immediately. As soon as he got there, he stopped breathing. And so they ended up finishing off the race, red flagging it right there. I think Elijah got 3 laps in at that point. So they finished off the race. It was only like 40 minutes in, maybe. I don't even think it was that. But just to keep people from getting off the course there, medics show up and they confirm that he's not head injury at all. So we start tearing off all his gear. And she starts chest compressions, CPR. And the other guy is holding his head and starting to break out an oxygen tank and everything. She gets pretty tired pretty quick. So I take over CPR, chest compressions, while she's giving oxygen, pumping his throat. And I was doing chest compressions and CPR for a good 15 minutes before the ambulance got there. And at that point, when the ambulance got there, I had moved to his head and was pumping oxygen through a pump bag into him. And she was back on CPR. And then the paramedics got there and they started to take over and talking to the police and whoever showed up there. They hooked him up, got a big machine on him that was doing chest compressions on him. They got him on a board. They moved him out of there, back to the ambulance. So we were pretty hopeful at that point that hopefully he would be okay. But got a call yesterday, and they confirmed that he had passed away on the track, and that we were keeping his blood flowing, but they were doing an autopsy on him today to figure out exactly what happened, but the most likely cause was either an aneurysm or a heart attack or something. It was super gnarly. My GoPro pretty much caught it all on my helmet until they took off his helmet, and then I didn't feel comfortable recording anymore. He was very ugly looking. It wasn't pretty at all. It was very hard to see, but I was trying my best to help out as much as possible. The rest of the day, we were just really hoping that everything would pull through. I felt absolutely horrible for his son that was there and his friend. He has a teenage son that was there with him. I guess this guy, his name was, well, I'm not going to say his name right now. But he was a big time racer. He did a bunch of 6 days in France, and he's been doing this racing for on 30 plus years. He's been doing this kind of racing, and he was like in his 50s. He was low 50s. That's what they said. But I talked to the people that run Team THIIS today, actually, at work, and just got a little confirmation on what they had found out, and the family wants to talk to me, and so we have to set up some time to talk to each other, and I'm hoping that goes well. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say. I don't know how to go about this situation. Never ever been in this kind of situation before. I had a really rough day yesterday, Monday, finding out what had happened, that he had passed. We tried so hard to keep him going, but I guess we did all we could do. But yeah, it was a very rough weekend, and I definitely don't want that to ever happen again. I was definitely gonna,
That's crazy.
always stop and wait for somebody that, if they're down or something like that, and make sure they're all right. And I've done it so many times before where I've always gotten like a thumbs up or kind of a go on and stuff like that, where like, it's a split second, like, you good? And then they're like, yeah, or thumbs up or something like that. And you keep ripping. So that situation just caught me really off guard. Yeah, it's been a hard couple days. Can't really get it off my mind. So, Note to self:
Yeah.
always keep your mind fresh with medical training like CPR, stuff like that. You never know what situation you're going to be in when you need it. Um, Never thought, like, I just did my CPR training earlier this year through my work, um, through my schooling, and so I'm glad I had been refreshed on it because I did it in my previous job too, but it's been 3 or 4 years since then. Um, and I'm glad I did it so I knew exactly what I was doing, and luckily I did to be able to help out, or else they would have been struggling pretty bad to keep any life in him. Um, yeah, um, yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
It was a brutal weekend.
That is insane.
Yeah, it wasn't. It
I
wasn't.
had no idea.
I know. Yeah, I don't even want to. I'm thinking about just deleting my GoPro footage, man. I got the whole beginning of the race and everything, and I got most of our conversations, probably like 15 to 20 minutes of me like directing riders, trying to talk to him, trying to get his attention, trying to get a reaction out of him.
Right.
But you know,
Well, I would just hold on to it to see if the family would like it, and then if not, I would just get rid of it.
yeah, I don't think they would want to see that. Honestly, it was pretty
Yeah,
gruesome. It was sad. It was very sad.
it's very
It's a
sad.
bummer.
That's unfortunate that that happened.
Yeah, I mean,
That's crazy. You never want to see that happen. You never expect that to happen either when you're riding.
no. And just the last thing I expected was that to happen. It's like it was pretty crazy too. Once he was carted away, we were all standing there, and the whole medic team and some police officers and the Horn Rapids crew, uh, facility crew, and there's probably like 20 of us people standing there, and we were like looking at the layout of the course, and like there's no disturbance whatsoever. Like he was just riding, came to a stop, and practically fell over. Like there was no crash involved. There was no nothing. He was When I rolled up on him, his legs were still around his dirt bike. One hand was on the
Mm,
handlebar laying on the ground, and one hand was on his chest. And like I said, the only movement I ever saw out of him was he laid his hand from his chest onto the ground, like he was trying to look up at me. And it was really hard. At that point, I was kind of took off his goggles to see if he'd look at me at all, and it was like he was looking right through me, like nothing was there anymore. So I
right.
was panic mode at that point. I was like yelling at the Team Tortoise member, like, he's not breathing anymore. What the fuck do I do? Like, do I touch him? Because I don't know if he's broken. Like, obviously at that point, I didn't really
Right.
look at the layout of the course, like where any disturbance was, like maybe, flipped or
Well, you
if
never know. You could, if someone had a neck injury, you could kill them just taking their
I
helmet
know
off.
that's just the part
So
that,
you,
kills me. That just,
yeah.
if I could have done something different in that situation, I don't know what I could
Well,
have done
it's
to help
there's
at all.
nothing you could have done. You did the best you could have, and it's very unfortunate. And it's very unfortunate he left a kid and family behind. But hopefully, he went uh, peacefully and fast, and he was doing it while he was doing what he loved the most. Hopefully, you know,
Yeah,
when he died. But no, that's very crazy to deal with. I never, or even riding the most craziest shit. You don't even think about it like, oh, I'm gonna die, or somebody I'm with is gonna fall off a cliff and die, or something. You just don't think about that stuff when
yeah.
you're out dirt biking because you're just having the time of your life.
It's crazy that it's
For
a part of our
for it,
sport like that. It can happen at any
oh,
moment,
I mean, it's crazy,
especially all the places that
but
we ride. It's pretty dangerous riding up
yeah,
in Natchez and going over Wenatchee and Tainum and all the places that we go. It's gnarly. It's gnarly stuff, and we're way out there. You never think about, medical conditions where you could need an airlift out of there or something. Like, we always just go, let's
Right.
go up there and go 50 miles out into the woods and go have some fun or whatnot. Man, you just never know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Just unfortunate. It's just those freak accidents, just like Ken Block that recently passed. Just
Yeah,
ski rolled over on him, just dead on sight. Unfortunately,
crazy.
but it's just freak accidents, and but yeah, it's crazy to think about. Puts a lot of stuff into perspective, and that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But
So, not really in the mood to look at footage or kind of put anything together. Next round, I'll
right,
focus more on the footage part. This was a good test round to try to see what I could do here and there with footage and how I could record and what to do. But there's so much prep that goes into this kind of racing that almost don't
right,
have time unless I'm like wearing a camera almost. But to me, that kind of stuff isn't really appealing in a YouTube video. Like wearing a camera to checking tire
yep,
pressure, my suspension pressure because I have KTM and all that kind of stuff. I like the kind of buttery film style where they're getting clips of the riding and out doing whatever they're doing. They're just getting good clips of riding and doing whatever they're doing. Maybe some bike maintenance here and there, but it's not like a long clip or anything. It's like pretty short and sweet. And but anyway, yeah, it's been a hard couple days, and we'll get past it. Um, I love riding. I love dirt bikes. There's nothing more I'd rather do. Um, it's a part of our sport. Any people that ride dirt bikes have accepted that. It's you kind of have to, no matter what. I mean, there's so many sports out there and things people love to do where that's part of it. That's you have to accept that it could be a consequence,
right.
you know. And
Definitely.
yeah, it's
Well, hey,
a bummer.
I think you should definitely talk to family and see if there's anything we can help out with or do. Um, and while you were talking about that terrible situation, it kind of popped in my head. Like, eventually, when we get all this merchandise stuff rolling and everything, maybe that's our part to give back, and we can give back to families that have lost a loved one to dirt bike accidents or uh, people that have gotten seriously injured and stuff like that, and help those families out too.
Yeah, and like I was thinking about it on the way here too, how you made some pretty badass stickers and stuff, and I was hoping we could, design a pretty cool sticker that, has his name and number and kind of just a cool design maybe that I can try to sell at the next round um, to
Yeah,
help fundraise for their financial, situation, whether it be for a funeral or memorial or whatever they're going to do. Um,
of course.
I would love to purchase probably 1,000 of them. I don't know. It's a little bit of money, but it's no issue in this situation. I'd like to do whatever I can to, help out with their situation. I don't know what kind of situation they're in financially wise, but um,
Well,
this
it's good to
stuff is
give
not
back
easy.
to the people that, yeah, it's good to give back to the people that they would give the same probably for you if a
Yeah,
certain situation happened like that to you or your family.
yeah,
And it's part of our sport, it it's very upsetting, but we got to move on, and hopefully the family is doing all right. And we'll have to find out some more information. Maybe if they have a GoFundMe or something, we'll put that up on all of our social medias, and so just like out on our social medias and stuff. Or maybe we can, when we get those stickers made, maybe we can sell some online too, to donate that money to the family. So yeah, just look out for that.
yeah. It's hard to talk about, but I wanted to get on here while it's fresh and share experience. It's definitely a learning experience. You don't think about it. You don't think it'll happen to you. Like I never thought it'd happen to me. Like I always heard stories of people, having to, you know, do CPR on people that they found, collapsed or whatever. And it's not something that you think about on a daily basis, obviously. And, um, it's very scary in the moment, and especially if you have no idea what to do to help out if you're in that situation. I was one of the four people there in all when the medic showed up. There were only two of them, and then the Team Tortoise guy who didn't have a CPR cert at the time. Um, he said he did a long time ago, but um, I'm just glad I was there to help as much as I can, just to try to give him a chance. I'm glad that I had it, available, my CPR cert, that I knew what to do and I jumped in. And so with the limited people, it was just, um, it's hard. It's, if you have it, I'm glad. And if you don't, um, I'd really encourage you to either take a course yourself or ask your employer to set up a course for your crew. Um,
Yeah.
it's very serious.
It's not. It's
So
not. It's not expensive. It's not hard. It doesn't take long, but it is very valuable information to know.
yeah, it was very easy to learn, and it was almost a joke, playing with mannequins and practicing on mannequins. That's how we did our test or whatnot, and using a defibrillator and doing it on a mannequin and switching out and giving oxygen and all this stuff. In the course that I took, a lot of guys kind of took it as a joke, and I wasn't totally serious about it either. Obviously, because you never think that you're going to be in that situation. Um, but I'm glad I, somewhat paid attention, because I definitely, used it in this situation, and that's all you could ask for, is that somebody around knows what to do in that kind of situation.
Right.
So,
Well, that's crazy. Well, stay healthy, ride safe. Uh, yeah, that's a big it's a big weight on your shoulders,
yeah,
and hopefully that getting it out, talking about it a little bit, will take a little bit of that weight off. But I know you being there and experiencing the whole thing firsthand and being the first person there, obviously it weighs pretty heavy. But
yeah, it's heavy. I'll tell you that it's heavy. Like I said, I've had a rough couple days, and just knowing that it didn't turn out the way that we prayed, but it was his time. God wanted him to come home, and that's just the situation we're in. It was his time, and he was doing something he loved, um, and there's nothing we could do about it. And we tried, but there was nothing we could do. So,
right, well, tried your best. That's all. That's what matters.
yeah.
But well, speaking of God taking people away from us, I got a story. This is a sad episode, I guess. So grandma got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreas cancer.
Man.
So they gave her about 6 months to live. So we're going out there next week, going out there for a week, spend some time with her. Luckily, we get to go out there. The whole family's going to go get to see her before she does pass away, but it's unfortunate to see.
Yeah.
But I mean, the great thing about her is she's just one of those people that just she's like, all right, it's time. It's my time to go. God's calling me. She's not sad about it. She's like, she didn't want to do chemo. She's like, I don't want to be miserable my last day. She's like, I want to drink wine and play golf. So that's what she's been doing. She
That's
said, fuck the
awesome.
chemo. She's not in the hospital. She's playing golf, going to the beach, drinking wine. She's partying her last few months with us. So we're gonna go out
Good.
there and do that. And then when I get back that Wednesday. Supercross will be in Phoenix that weekend, so I'll be going to Supercross that weekend.
Nice. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. That's a rough
Oh, that's all
situation.
right.
Family member is a
She's
big impact.
right, yeah, it is. But I'm just glad to see that she's like happy and she's you know living life instead of being sick in a hospital or doing chemo, just being miserable.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Everyone's just trying to stay positive. She's positive about it, so why not be?
Well,
But
give her your well wishes from me. I think I've
of
met her like
course,
twice ever. She lives in Florida, right?
yeah, she lives in Florida.
Yeah. I met her one time when she came up here when you lived here. And then one time when we were all down there
Yeah,
last year. She's a cool lady.
yep. So we're gonna go get hammered with Grandma on the beach, party it up.
Nice.
Can't wait. But so Supercross going to Seattle this upcoming weekend, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited. Man, dude, this last Supercross in Detroit was such an emotional and crazy
Hey,
Supercross.
let's talk about that Deegan kid. What's up with
Oh my
that?
gosh, man. Okay, not
The balls
only
on that
I
fucker.
know, not only was that situation like way over the top, but how he played it off was so awkward. Like I don't know if you watched the post
He,
race interviews on YouTube, but that was
I did.
just
I
freaking
did.
embarrassing.
He was cocky. He's like, yeah, he's my teammate, but he's a veteran in the game. Like he knows better. Like we're all out here to win. Even though it's a heat race, he's like, we're all out here starving. We're all gonna win. We're all gonna push as hard as we want to. Even if it's my teammate, like I'm gonna push him.
And after, I mean,
Like
he was like mostly the one asking questions and being asked questions. And even after like every question he was asked, he'd say something like, yeah, he's fifth in points. So, and then sit back.
yeah, he was
Like
laughing.
every
It was
sentence.
kind of
I
it was kind of disrespectful.
was like, oh my gosh, like your teammate, first of all. Second of all, you're like totally bashing him in the post race press conference. And that was just pretty weird to see, like, you see him on YouTube and, with the camera face on, but it's really rare you get to see him where, his actual self. And I'm a fan of Deegan, don't get me wrong. Like, he's super talented for his age, and he's going to be really good, especially this being his rookie year, and he's third in points, and he's got 2 podiums under his belt. Um, he's insanely talented, and from what I've heard, my brother, when he went to Loretta's, they hung out with him for, a couple hours one day, and he's pretty cool, nice guy. He's not like he's not cocky to, um, people that are, not pro riders or not on a factory rig or anything. He was nice to everybody, but I think in those kind of situations, maybe like he's always been behind the little Sony camera that, gets the YouTube videos, but being on live TV in front of a group full of press, he probably kind of cracked a little bit for the first time. And it was almost like he didn't even know what to do in that situation. So it
Right.
was kind of just laugh it off kind of thing.
Yeah. He was asking me to ask questions. He was like he
Yeah.
didn't really know. like
And
what to
then
say or like
the
how to
weird
handle it.
situation with Hunter, like he was asked a question about, being a little bit, over the top in that situation, and then Hunter comes in and makes a really valid point how everybody complains that, back in the day, um, the racers in the 90s used to be like bar banging, shoving people out of the way kind of thing, and everybody loved it. And they're like, why don't we get that back where the manly men raced? And then when things happen like that, like even with Barsha, like, yeah, there's some moments like with Barsha and Mookie that were very over the top and very, like, come on, dude, that's not okay. Where you just like ejected Mookie off the bike in that last round last year. But since then, he's been super clean, and this year has been super good for Barsha. And in that situation with Deegan, like, yeah, they're racing. Deegan's trying to keep his spot in that heat race, and it was kind of over the top the way he was like cutting in under him like multiple times through the S turns. And yeah, it was just kind of weird to see, them battle kind of awkwardly like that. It wasn't like a real racing battle. It was almost like they were trying to shove each other out of the way on purpose.
Yeah,
And that
it was
totally let
stupid.
Jeremy Martin, fly by both of them and, get the win. It was for nothing pretty much. Um, so, it was really weird. But what Hunter was saying is, that same thing. He's like, why are y'all complaining that, after we have a little contact, it's like, what the hell? Like, make up your mind. What do you want to see? And then one of the reporters was saying something that it was like way over the top. He was kind of getting a little aggressive. But then nobody answers his question because they don't know who he's talking to. And they're like, oh, is that for Hunter? And then Hunter's like, yeah, I didn't know you were talking to me, but I'm not on
Yeah,
this team, so it doesn't really
he
matter to
made a
me.
he made kind of a valid point saying like they're out there running split second decisions and they're under a microscope.
Yeah, they're
So
going fast as hell.
any little mistake, everyone's going to critique them because they're watching from a bird eye view. They're not in the helmet doing the actions. Yes, I do believe it was a little bit overzealous with the fucking with Deegan, but uh, I don't know. I feel like it's a heat race. It doesn't really matter. You're just getting gate picks anyways.
Yeah,
Like
it's not
if it
worth
was a
taking
different,
yourself out.
if it was like a, if it was a triple crown, then it would be different.
Yeah, for sure. Or even
But
a main. Yeah.
or even a main, like in a main, I get it. But he's your own teammate. You're trying to like you kind of gotta watch out for those guys and make sure they're like you're not fucking them up too because the people that are paying all your bills are paying all his or like they're paying all his bills too. Like
Yeah.
he's your teammate, so I don't know, I just gotta watch out for that. But some people just don't really seem to give a shit. I don't know how that played over with Star Racing Yamaha, but
You probably get a
I
good
fi-
talking to.
yeah, I figure they had a pretty good talking to. But this is kind of like the first time it happened, so if it
Yeah.
happens continuously, I guess we'll see what happens with that. But um, yeah, I don't know.
I we were watching the race at Horn Rapids Saturday night, and um, I made some funny joke that man Deegan's gonna end Smith's career like in this one race, and then throughout the rest of the heat, Smith crashes 3 more times, like totally wads
Yeah,
himself 3 more times.
it was bad.
Like when he was going through the whoops, and he tried going past two guys that were side by side in the whoops. He tried going around them in the whoops. They were trying to go 3 wide in the whoops. And Smith hits a handlebar, wads, and goes ejecting over the berm out of the
Yeah,
next rhythm section. Like
that
a
was a gnarly
flying and
crash.
smacking off the ground. Like really bad. Gets back up on the bike and then goes and then over the dragon back to go to the corner for the finish line. He rear taps the last one and goes nose in to the landing and goes flying over the bike again. Like totally ruined his career. And then in the LCQ, he doesn't even make it to the main. He crashes out of the LCQ. I was like, oh
Yeah,
shit, he really
that
ruined his
was
career in one
that
race.
was rough. He was
It was
he's fast in the whoops though.
oh, he's super fast, and he was obviously faster than Deegan. Just
Oh yeah.
uh,
He pulled on him through the whoops.
yeah, he really pulled on him, and he's a veteran,
But
so he should, you know. Um, he's been so close to a championship before, and right now, I mean, he's kind of in it. They're not that far point spread, but I mean, now they are since he didn't even make it into the main event. So
right.
it really sucks for Smith, but for Deegan, on the other hand, it's his rookie season. He's trying to impress and make it, and he's gonna make decisions that are not well thought out. I mean, you can't you can't make well thought out decisions in that amount of time. But through those four S turns, that's kind of a lot of time to say, "Hey, I'll just stick right behind him," instead of like trying to cut him off three more times. And then that
Right.
last time just totally like obliterated him.
What
So
about Aaron Plessinger, the KTM Cowboy?
yeah, I was about to get into that, and I was rooting for him so hard. Like, I've listened to two other podcasts today where they talk about it, and it was almost like, you know, nobody can hate on Aaron Plessinger because he's such a cool guy, and I
He
think
is.
everybody loves him just because of his personality and the way he rides and everything. Being on factory KTM is a huge deal, and he's an amazing rider, and he obviously proved it. He led every lap until the very last one. Um, and he was pulling on Chase Sexton. Chase got him down. He was like 7 seconds behind, got him down to about 3.5, and then he was another 6 seconds by that last lap behind Aaron. And he said the only time he ever sat down in that turn, he, or the only time he stood up, he sat down through that turn every time and had his foot off the peg through that single up onto that table, the on off, and it was kind of a weird situation because I watched it again, and there was lappers right there in that corner, so he kind of snuck around them just perfectly. But he was in that situation where he kind of had the seat bounce because he was going too slow to get the speed into it because they were right there in front of him, and man, just caught his foot, went absolutely flying, and man, dude, I was gonna cry. I thought I was gonna cry. I was like, no way that just happened. Like his first ever 450 main win, gone. Just a ride of a lifetime, and then just ripped out of his hands. Like,
That sucks.
man, that's such a shitty situation to be in. I mean, and I bet he made so much more fans that night with his post race interview with Jason or yeah Jason. I think it was Jason. No, it was JT. Yeah, Jason Thomas. But he was very emotional, and he had his hopes up though at the end. I mean, he's like, "I'm gonna come back to Seattle. I love Seattle. I'm excited
Yeah.
to get back on the horse." He said, "I'm gonna get back up on the saddle in Seattle." And the whole crowd started booming, like he could hear everybody like, "Hell yeah!" Like, "You're the man," kind of thing. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Like, good for him that he can have some, good out of this and not just be, I bet that really, really frustrated him and everything. But even he was on Pulp MX show yesterday, and he was all right. It didn't get him down too much, which is good. It's racing. It happens. I mean, it's happened to Chase Sexton like 4 times this season. So
Right.
Chase Sexton got a little bit of uh, you know, kind of what happens to Eli Tomac or Cooper Webb all season, where he, crashes out on like the couple minutes or a minute to go, or even the last lap, just kind of, wads himself. Um,
Yeah.
so
What's
Chase
up with
Sexton got a little bit
that?
out of that.
What's
Man,
up with Tomac
I was
this
listening to
season?
some pros talk about it, and like it totally makes sense to where Chase is like, he's so good, but he almost puts way too much trust into the traction he has. And
Right.
it makes complete sense to me. Like, they were talking about how that one weird crash he did a couple weeks ago, where he, like, all of a sudden was coming off the on off into that corner, and he just went completely sideways and, high sided
Mhm.
himself. And he just was having so much confidence in that front tire traction. Like, when they prep out the track after races and stuff, all those ruts are gone, you know, and you
Right.
can't, fly into a corner assuming that the rut that you practiced on, or even that was in the heat race, is going to be there again. So that's what they were talking about. Is just, he's got so much trust in that front traction, the front tire traction, and even the rear too. Like, he just, that 450's got so much bark that, kick out that rear end so fast. And yeah, man, he gets under pressure. He's got a lot to learn in the 450 class for sure. I mean, he gets under pressure and it ends it for him.
Right. What about that win last weekend?
Who's
That Kenny
Kenny's?
Roxon.
Yeah, dude, I was stoked about that. That was so
That was
awesome.
pretty sick.
I loved when he was on the podium holding up the Kickstarter. He's Kickstart Kenny, Kickstart Kenny. It's so funny. He's a badass.
Yeah.
He deserved that for sure. That was a rough track, and that was the worst one out of the season, and that I've seen in a few years. How it was just so technical, and he was on it all night long, and I got really scared when Barsha came up on him that last lap, and he made that mistake on
Yeah.
the on off,
Mhm.
and I thought Barsha was gonna fly into him and kind of give him
I
some
thought so
bars,
too.
but luckily he's changed his personality a little bit to where he's not Bam Bam as much anymore. Because that would have sucked. I would have been so mad. I want Kenny to win so bad, and just after what he's been through with injuries and everything, I was like, please, God, please let him win. I wanted it so bad. It was
Yeah,
badass though.
it was a good win. It was emotional.
Yeah, he was the last one to win on a Suzuki, dude. It's been that long. In
Yeah.
2016. That was the last
Jesus.
time Suzuki was on top of the podium. It's pretty crazy. Even James Stewart
That
didn't
is
didn't get a win with Suzuki in his last
really.
days. Yeah, in his career, his last retirement days. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he was on a Suzuki for a couple of years before he retired, and I think he retired that, you know, I don't know when he retired, but it was in that area where Dungy, and maybe it was before Roxon, maybe it was before 2016. I'm getting years mixed up, but yeah, I remember his last race to this day. It was um, Dungy kind of stuffed him into a corner, and um, it kind of high sided himself a little bit because
Right.
James was like really high in the corner, and he was shooting out of it, and Dungy came in low, and they smacked into each other, and James just went flying and smacked his head on the berm and knocked out cold. Just didn't even move. Just freaking, but just vegetable, just out. And that was his last race. I still remember it. I watched it on
Wow.
TV, and yeah, that sucked. I was like, damn, this. It's like, he's falling apart, kind of thing. He's just fastest man in the world, and he was hanging in there until his last days. Um, and they were all hyped up about him coming back next year, and then he totally disappeared from the face of the
Right.
earth. Nobody could talk to him. Nobody could get a hold of him. Uh, he went and did his own thing for a few years, and now just recently he has a podcast, and he's been an announcer for a few races. This
Bubba's
Supercross, and then
World.
yeah, in Bubba's World, and he was an announcer for some. I think it was only one or two motocross rounds this last time, but he's a cool dude. He's finally getting back into the mix of dirt bikes, and it's cool to listen to his thoughts and his mindset when it comes to Chase Sexton, because he trained Chase Sexton for like a year. He was his trainer, and but ever since then, and that's probably a big reason why Chase is all of a sudden just amazing. Like, Chase used to battle with Austin Forkner. Like, Austin Forkner used to ruin Chase in races. And now, Chase is fighting for the points. I mean, not anymore, because he jumped the Red Cross this weekend and got docked 7 points. So he's like 17 down. And so the only two in the points battle now are Coop and Tomac. But it would have to be pretty catastrophic for Chase to win the championship anymore. Yeah. But even those times, with Austin and Chase battling all the time, you never would have thought that Chase would be in this position now. He's an amazing rider. And watching Tomac and Chase battle last year in motocross, it was so gnarly to watch them fight each other. Out on the track, they were going so fast, it was mind-boggling. Just the amount of body work and bike work that they were doing during those races. Like, some points they were just like, like this, like passing each other here, corner, and they were just tapped like the whole way with those gnarly 450s and just doing things that we'd never seen before and absolutely flying. It's so entertaining. So I'm super happy that Eli is doing this motocross season. He signed, I don't know if you knew that, but he had the 1-year deal for Supercross because he was going to retire after the season. But with the inaugural announcement of the Super Motocross Series, he signed for motocross and the Super Motocross World Championship. And then I think he's going to be done after this 2023 season. But
yeah,
that's going to be cool to watch them battle again in outdoors.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. He's probably going to win this season, get 2 back-to-backs. That's pretty good to end off on.
I know. Can you imagine if Eli just goes straight undefeated for 2 years? Like last year Supercross, last year motocross, fast. world, the motocross to nations, and then he went and won at World Supercross in Australia, and then he comes here and right now he's second in points, but he's been leading this whole time until Coop finally got him after that bad race. I guess he had a neck issue. Like, I totally get it. I've had, like, these last few months, I've been waking up with, like, major neck pain to where I could, like, barely move my head at all. It was really weird. All of a sudden, it was, like, 3 weeks in a row where I was, like, I'd get over it a little bit, and then I'd wake up and it'd just be, like, stiff neck. And I was like, it sucks. Like, you can barely do anything. I imagine that's what he got. He said he woke up one day and his neck was just locked up. And I was like, man, that would be terrible to be a pro motocross rider and just have a locked up neck to where if you move it, it's just sharp pains. And yeah, that's probably why he got, I think he got 8th or something. I think it was.
Well, speaking of good,
I think it was 6th, but I can't remember.
Speaking of getting fucked up, I got fucked up recently.
Oh yeah, you gotta tell me about that.
My dumbass fell off of a scraper. Jumped fucking 6 feet and tried to land on my left foot like I'm a ballet dancer and fucking just collapsed.
Yeah, because you already got a messed up knee.
Yeah.
So you're trying to land on the other leg?
No, I landed on my fucked up knee. We're like, oh, it's been rebuilt. It was good to go. Nope.
No.
That bitch said nope. And I collapsed, got up. I was like, holy fuck. And I was just like, so much pain. I was like, I fucking blew my knee out again. I was like, holy shit. And I was like crawling on the ground. So I was like trying to get around the scraper because I didn't want the fucking cameras to see me. Then I was like, oh, I'll walk it off. And then I was hurting too bad. So I went in and told them, I was like, yeah, I fucking fell off the scraper. I went and got checked out. They put me in a brace, and then I was just doing PT and checkups, and then over like a week or two, they put me on light duty, so it started hurting less, and then it was to the point where I could start working out and stuff, and then only was really hurting if I bent it the wrong way or like just tweaked it fast, and then once the third week, I think it was like third week rolled around, I went and got checked up. So this was like last week, and then they cleared me, but I was still having some issues, and they basically so I went and got it's through workman's comp, so it was just like they sent me to this shitty ass place, and the doctors are like barely even doctors. So they sent me, like, it's a ligament issue, and they sent me to go get x-rays done, and I was like, this is fucking pointless, but I went and got x-rays done, nothing wrong. And then they're like, well, your knee, it doesn't feel like, they were like touching my knee, and they're like, it doesn't feel like anything's like torn. So they're like, just deal with it. That's what they told me. They're like, if you have excruciating pain, then come back, but if not, just deal with it.
That's
So I'm
it.
like, yeah.
No
So
MRI,
I know,
no
I feel
nothing.
it. No MRI, nothing. Well, they wouldn't do it. So I'm basically fucked until I fuck it up again. So right now it feels fine. For like a few days, it felt iffy. Like I felt like I was just gonna like tweak it the wrong way and pop it out. And now it feels good. But I feel like if I have one more like good spill on it, it's gonna fucking do it again. So I'm just waiting for the day to come, unfortunately. But
Yeah, that sucks. It's kind of like the situation I had with my shoulder, where it was like, well, you can get a surgery now, fix it, or you can finish out your football season and like your high school career and play football until you're done, and
right.
you just dislocate your shoulder every 3 times every game. Like,
Didn't you get the surgery?
yeah, I got the surgery after I graduated, and then I dislocated
And
it
then didn't it
again.
still dislocate?
Yeah, it was like 2.5. I think it was almost 3 years later. No, it was 2 years later after my surgery. I was climbing up a rock bank and while I was hunting, and it started sliding out from under me. So I was holding on to a root, and I just pulled it out, and it stayed out for like 40 minutes until my brother pulled it back in and set it back in out there in the woods. And oh man, that sucks so bad. And ever since then, I've dislocated it. I dislocated it snowboarding, and I think I did. Oh, I did. I dislocated at Washougal last year racing at the Team Tortoise race, and I like drove off the course a little bit. It was like really ruddy corner in the woods, single track, and I like somebody was stuck there, and I kind of was going too fast, and I went off the course a little bit to where I was like downhill, and I tried pulling my bike back up onto the track, the course, and I pulled it out, and all I could think to do is throw my arm over my front of my body, and it went back in. And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Kept going, and and then the other time was snowboarding in White Pass, and that really sucked because it was like 7 degrees, so all my
Right.
muscles were really tight, and so it was really hard to get back in. My cousin had me around the waist, and my old brother Elijah like was ripping on it and ripping on it, and he finally like threw his whole body into it, pulled my arm like this way, so it set it, come back forward, and set it back in. And man, it sucks. So I can't imagine a knee, man, like walking on that all day. Like I can favor a shoulder, like I can do things with this hand and
Right.
kind of deal with it, but man, a knee, like that's so hard to deal with, especially being a dirt bike guy. Like you can't really, send it when you want to without worrying about it.
Right. I don't know. I'm just gonna say fuck it and just go about my normal activities. And if it happens again, I'm gonna pay good money to go to a good doctor instead of going through workman's comp because that was just fucked. I'd rather
Yeah.
go to an actual doctor and get an MRI done and see what's actually wrong with me instead of waiting 3 weeks to maybe get an MRI and they just tell me, no, we're not doing an MRI.
Yeah, you need to come back up here and see our good old Dr. Seiler again.
Yeah. Our sports injury doctor, surgeon, master mechanic of people.
Yeah. He did your
But,
brother. Did he do you? Did he do your knee?
oh, he did me hard.
Oh,
yeah. He did my knee, ACL, MCL, meniscus. He did my brother's ACL, MCL, meniscus. He's done my dad's shoulders. He's done both shoulders on my dad, and then I think a knee, and then your dad, and then he's done a bunch of my dad's buddies. He's done you.
I think he's done Elijah too, with his maybe it wasn't Elijah. I think it was Wyatt. He did Wyatt with when Wyatt broke his collarbone in 2 different spots snowboarding.
Oh yeah.
He like toe sided and just kind of just face planted right into the ice, shattered his collarbone in 2 different spots. It was all like this and a piece in the middle. And he put a big ass metal plate in there. So yeah, he's a good
shout
doctor.
out Dr. Seiler. If you're in Washington, you got money and you got broken shit, go see my guy Seiler, bro.
Yeah, after I dislocated my shoulder, it bugged me for like 2 months, like just agonizing pain, everything I did. And the only thing I could do was go to PT and help the pain, like work the muscles and stuff like that. Or do another surgery, which they'd have to do a bone graft and fill in a big dent in the backside of my shoulder where the ball of my shoulder goes out and it sits in there and makes a dent, and get my labrum fixed. And that would take 8 months of recovery time. And I was like, fuck that. Nope. I'm just
dude, I got a welder, dude. I'll weld that shit up for you.
Let me just throw some steel plates in there and you just.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen your welds and I don't think I want those inside me.
Hey, bro. I did some welding today, and I'd say it looked pretty good inside you.
Have you gotten better? Have you gotten better at it?
I've gotten a little better.
You showed me some before, and maybe it was that aluminum one, but it was like,
aluminum. That's my nightmare right there.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. But I can't say shit though. I don't know how to aluminum weld, and I've never learned, and all I can weld is big fat steel. So
it's easier to weld plastic than it is aluminum. I'll tell you that much.
Really?
Yes,
probably
it
is.
That's funny. You ready to wrap this son of a gun up?
Yeah. Thank you everybody for tuning in to the Change Different podcast. I'm your host Colton. This is Kieran. It was a rough one, but we made it through. I'm glad you guys all be a part of this. Keep a lookout for those stickers and future updates with our merch and other stickers. We haven't really put anything up for sale, but we're making them. We're making designs, and we have some really good ideas that we'd like to soon in the future. Right now, we're just building our page and our channels and trying to get to a point where we can go live and talk to people and answer questions and just do the best we can. So this is kind of a chill thing. It's not really a job at this point. It's really fun doing this with my best friend, and I think it's a blast. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us and listening to our conversations. If you would like to help out in any way with the family that I mentioned, reach out to us on our Instagram, the DMs. But if anything, just pray for the family. If you're a praying person, they need it for sure. They got a broken family right now, and they need all the prayer and they need all the support they can get. So if you don't go to the Team Tortoise racing events. I highly recommend it. They are awesome. They're well put together, and it is a super fun time to be hanging out with friends and family and go racing and get your ass kicked and have fun doing it all over again. So come on out. I can post the series schedule if it's wanted. DM us if you want us to post up that racing schedule. If not, uh, it's easier just to go on their Team Tortoise Facebook page or the Team Tortoise Instagram page. You can do that too. It's right there. But anyway, sir.
Yeah, guys, thanks for listening. You can find us on Chain Driven Pod on all social media platforms. We're blowing up on TikTok. We're gonna be famous soon. And YouTube. So go check those out. And yeah,
I will be
ride
posting more
safe,
YouTube
stay
videos, I
healthy.
promise.
Yeah, we're gonna have some more content coming out pretty soon. Some more podcasts. Definitely gonna start rolling back into them. So look out for that. Anyways, ride safe, stay safe, love your loved ones because it could be gone tomorrow. So yeah. Aside from that, thank y'all for listening.
Peace
See y'all
out.
later.